Is this portable pneumatic espresso machine really the right fit for a kitchen that isn't a CAF, or does it belong on a barista's countertop instead? Who should grab the SJAKFHD 116-bar model, who can safely skip it, and does the price make sense for someone who just wants a decent cup at home or in the office? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I get the hesitation right away. A machine that promises no preheat and variable pressure sounds like a shortcut to professional-grade espresso, but the reality of daily use is a little more nuanced. When you're juggling a morning commute, a quick office break, or a weekend brunch, the biggest question is whether the device will slot into your routine without turning coffee time into a science experiment. That's why I spent a few days actually setting it up, pulling a handful of shots, and watching how the pressure gauge behaves when I'm trying to get that sweet, balanced extraction. First off, the setup is surprisingly straightforward. The unit comes in a compact stainless steel case that fits nicely on a kitchen counter or even a narrow office desk. There's no external water reservoir to fill. You simply attach a standard kitchen faucet hose, screw on the portafilter, and you're ready to go. The lack of a heating element means you can start pulling a shot within 2 minutes, which is a real time saver compared to traditional machines that need a 5-minute warm-up. For people who only make 1 or 2 cups a day, that quick-fire start is a clear win. The variable pressure dial, which ranges from 1 to 16 bars, is the centerpiece of this design. In theory, dialing down to 9 bars gives you a classic espresso profile, while cranking up to 14 bars can produce a more intense, cremeric shot. In practice, I found that the gauge is fairly responsive, but you need a bit of practice to settle on the sweet spot for your particular beans. I experimented with a light roast from Ethiopia, a medium roast from Brazil, and a dark Italian blend. The Ethiopian beans showed the best flavor when I kept the pressure around 8-9 bars, pushing higher just amplified bitterness. The Brazilian beans liked a bit more pressure, around 11 bars, which brought out a nutty sweetness. The dark blend was forgiving across the whole range, but the crema was noticeably thicker at 13 bars. What this tells you is that the machine gives you real control, but it also expects you to understand how pressure interacts with roast level and grind size. If you're comfortable tweaking grind settings on a grinder and enjoy a bit of trial and error, this flexibility feels empowering. If you'd rather press a button and get a consistent cup every time, you might find the learning curve a bit steep. One practical strength that often gets overlooked is the food-grade stainless steel construction. The internal piston and the pressure chamber are all metal, so there's no plastic that could leach flavors after repeated use. I ran the machine through a full cleaning cycle with a mild descaling solution, and the metal surfaces stayed spotless. For anyone who's sensitive to taste contamination, especially when you're pulling espresso for a small office team, the material choice feels reassuring. On the downside, the no preheat claim can be a double-edged sword. Because there's no boiler, the water temperature is essentially whatever the tap supplies, which in many homes sits around 55-60 C, 130140 F. That's cooler than the ideal espresso brewing range of 90-96 C, 195205 F. To compensate, the piston's pressure does help extract flavors, but you'll notice a thinner body compared to a machine that heats water to the proper range. In my tests, the shots were bright and aromatic, but they lacked that plush mouthfeel you get from a heated system. If you're after a full-bodied, CAF-style crema, you might need to preheat your water in a kettle first, adding a step that defeats part of the instant promise. Another hidden trade-off is the manual effort required. The pneumatic action means you're pulling a lever to build pressure, then releasing it to extract. For a single shot it feels satisfying, like you're participating in the brew, but if you need to make multiple drinks back-to-back, say, for a small meeting, you'll find the rhythm tiring after the 3rd or 4th pull. The gauge makes it easy to keep pressure consistent, but the physical work is unavoidable. Users who value convenience over craftsmanship might prefer an electric pump machine that does the heavy lifting automatically. Portability is where the SJAKFHD really shines. The whole unit weighs just under 7 kilograms and the stainless steel body resists dents, so you can pack it in a car trunk for a road trip or bring it to a campsite that has a water source. I tried it at a friend's cabin, connected it to a portable water jug, and managed to pull a decent espresso before breakfast. The only hiccup was that the ambient temperature was low, which made the water even cooler, reinforcing the earlier point about temperature limitations. Still, for a traveler who can bring a small kettle along, the machine delivers a respectable cup without the bulk.